In this video, I'm going to discuss with you subnetting a Class C network address. Let's read this problem. Subnet 192.168.10.0/24. This is a Class C network. To support the LAN, requirements in the topology shown. So we have this topology, and in this topology, there are three local area networks. This local area network requires 25 hosts. The middle local area network requires 20 hosts, meaning IP addresses. And this local area network requires 15 hosts or IP addresses. And all of these LANs are connected to the Giga Ethernet interfaces of the router named Lab A. This LAN connects to G00. This one connects to G01. And this one connects to G02 or 0/2 of this router. Okay, so our first task here is to subnet this Class C network address. So we subnet 192.168.10.0/24. This is the bit mask. This represents the number of bits that are allotted to the network. So a Class C network, the 24 bits are for the network, and the remaining 8 bits are for the host or IP addresses of the host. So this one has 8 bits, another 8 bits, another 8 bits. So total of 24 bits for the networks and the remaining 8 bits for the host. To subnet a network is to borrow bits from the host. So, and that borrowed bits will become a part of that network, and the corresponding networks that will be manufactured out of that process will be called subnetworks. So we will keep our focus on these 8 bits allotted for the host. So these are the 8 bits. There. And we write down the place values of each of these bits. As we have learned, these are governed by the powers of 2. Starting from 2⁻⁴, which is 1, 2⁻⁴, 2, 2⁻²⁴, and so on. This will be 32, this will be 64, and this will be 128. Okay, again, these 8 bits are allotted for the host bits. But we are asked to subnet this network. So how do we subnet a network? A Class C network at that. So the first thing we do is to check which of these host requirements is the greatest, or which of the LANs has the greatest host requirement. And obviously, the greatest host requirement is 25 hosts. This is the greatest host requirement. Yeah. And therefore, we will compare this one to the numbers here. And there must be 3 requirements that will be met so that we will be able to identify how many bits we are going to borrow here. what are these requirements? First, the number must be greater than this identified greatest requirement. So, greater than the maximum requirement. Next, if it is greater, it must be greater by at least 2. Okay, and it must be the nearest number, meaning it must be the nearest number to the identified greatest number. So if we inspect these numbers here, there are 3 numbers that are greater than 25 to meet this requirement. They are 32, 64, and 128. And among these 3 numbers, the nearest number is 32. And 32 is greater by 7 compared to 21. Therefore, this condition is also satisfied. And this is also satisfied. So 32 will be our reference number. So we call this the reference number, and the bit below it, count the number of bits to the left. This will be the number of bits, or these are the bits that we are going to add to the 24 bits, and that will be the bit mask of all the subnetworks that we will be using out of this network. So our new bit mask now will be 24 plus to this 3, because this 3 becomes a part of the network, and this will now be the bits allotted for the host for each subnetwork. So our new bit mask now will be /27. And what will be the new subnet mask? Okay, the new subnet mask will be still the first octet will still be 255 because of the 8 bits here. The next will still be 255, and the next will still be 255, but now it will no longer be 0 for the 4th octet because there are 3 bits here representing the network. So we will add these values, 128 plus 64 plus 32, and that will be equal to 224. So this is now the subnet mask that will represent /27. Okay, this will also be the subnet mask for all the subnetworks. And what are the subnetworks? Okay, let's identify the first subnet. So subnet or subnetwork. Subnet 1 will be the network itself, 192.168.10.0. Instead of /24, it will now be /27. The second subnet will be the reference value now added to the 4th octet value. So 32 plus 0 will now be 32. This is now our second subnet. That's why I call this the reference number. And the third subnet subnet number 3 or subnetwork 3. We will add also 32 to the preceding subnet. So this will now be 64. And then subnet 4. And we will add 32 again to 64. That will be 10.96. Then you'll have another one plus 32, 128 plus 32, 160 plus 32, 192 and so on. Okay? But we will be limiting our subnets to these first four subnetworks because we only will be supporting 3 subnets here. So in the first subnet, the usable IP addresses will be 192.168. The first usable will be 10.1 up to 192.168.10. Okay, before we write the last usable, we write the broadcast address for this network. Okay, let me just abbreviate that by BA. The broadcast address is the address or the last IP address in this subnet or that IP address before the next subnetwork. And that will be 192.168.10.31. Therefore, the last usable here would be 10.30. In this subnet number 2, the broadcast address will be the address before the next subnet, 192.168.10.63. So the usable here will be 192.168.10.33 up to 192.168.10.62. If you notice, the usable here from 10.1 to 10.30, there are 30 IP addresses available, enough to support the 25 here. Okay? And this subnet also can support 30 from 10.33 to 10.62. And the third subnet, the broadcast address, will be 192.168.10.95. So the usable IP addresses here will be from 10.65 up to the IP address before the broadcast, which is 10.94, and these are also with a total of 30 IP addresses. So we can have usable IP addresses for subnet 4, subnet 5, subnet 6, and so on. But for the meantime, since we only need 3 subnetworks, we'll just be considering subnet 1, subnet 2, and subnet 3. So we will use subnet 1 here for this LAN. We will use subnet 2 for this LAN, and we will use subnet 3 for this local area network. Okay, so how do we configure? Now we know that the usable here starts from 10.1 there to 10.30. Here the usable for subnet 2, 10.33 to 10.62. usable for subnet 3, 10.65 to 10.94. Then, so we are now ready to configure the computers and the router, and let's see if this will work out. If the subnetting procedure we use is valid. Okay, so let us configure now the computers. Okay, this is now the configuration. Okay, here. Let's start with the PCA here. Okay, we will now configure PCA with its IP address. The IP address must come from this range, 10.1 to 10.30. So we'll be using 10.2. So the IP address of PCA is 192.168.10.2. The subnet mask, as we have learned earlier, will be 255.255.255.224. This is for the /27 bit mask. And normally, the first usable address is the IP address we use as default gateway of all the hosts in this LAN. And later, this IP address will be configured in this interface of the router where the LAN is connected. Okay, so we will be configuring this later with 10.1. There. Okay, so this is the configuration of computer A. If you have another computer, its IP address will be 10.3. The same subnet mask, the same default gateway. Another computer, 10.4. And so on after all the 25 hosts have been configured. Next, for this subnet or this PCB, its IP address comes from this range. We use 10.34. Okay, so we use 10.34. And the subnet mask will also be that for /27. And the default gateway for this LAN is actually the first usable for this subnet. So we'll be configuring this interface later, G001 with 10.33, which is the default gateway for all the hosts here. So if you have another PC here, its IP address will be 10.35. The next one will be 10.36 and so on. Okay, for this PCC here, we configure this with this IP address 10.66, which actually comes here within this range. We use 10.65, the first usable for the default gateway. So later, we will be configuring G02 with 10.65. This is the default gateway of all the computers in this local area network. So that's how we configure the PCs. Okay, we are now ready to configure the router. Okay, let me place this coupon band. Let us configure the router. Okay. Say we have here class a simulator. We use a packet tracer. We connected these devices. Okay, we use 2911 router. We use 2960 switches, generic computers. Then using straight through cables, we connected these devices this way. These are the interfaces of the 2911 that we use respectively. And then initially these are in color red because by default the Ethernet interfaces of the router are shut down. Okay, but these connections are already turned on or in green color because by default the Ethernet ports of PCs and switches are turned on. Okay, so here these are still red, manifesting that there is not yet physical connection between these devices. Okay, so let's configure now the router. If we use the terminal or the command line interface, say we connect a computer here to its console, then we open the CLI or the terminal software. Then as we press enter, there will be a question which says, do you want to continue with the initial dialog setup? So you just have to type no. Then as you type no, you will be prompted with this router with this symbol. Okay, this is actually what we call the privilege mode of the router, where limited commands can be executed. So the first thing we do is to type EN, which is shortcut for enable, so that we will be shifted to the privilege mode of the router. In the privilege mode, there are many things that we can do. We can save, we can diagnose, we can issue commands that are used in diagnosing connections like ping, or you can check the routing table and many others. Okay, but we'll just be focusing on the basic configuration. So let's type config T, shortcut for configure terminal. Then press return or enter, and the prompt changes to router with config inside the parentheses, then the pound sign. This prompt tells us that we are at the global mode of the router, which means that whatever command we execute here would affect the entire router. That's why it is called global. But for the meantime, let's just change its name by typing host, shortcut for host name, because the name of the router here is lab A, so we change that to lab A there, and this will now change to lab A, but it will maintain the global configuration mode there. Now from the global mode, we now go to the specific interfaces. So let's start entering the interface Giga Ethernet 0/0, and as we press enter, we'll notice that the prompt now changes to config IF here, which is a manifestation that we are now inside this interface, and the command that we will be executing here will affect only this interface. So the first thing we do is to turn on the interface by issuing the command no shutdown. Okay, again by default these interfaces are shut down, so if we issue no shutdown, this will turn on. As we press enter, this now turns into color green, manifesting that these two are now physically connected. Then pressing enter, we will come out with the same prompt, the same interface. So we now assign the IP address allotted for interface, and that IP address will serve as the gateway of all the pieces here. So the IP address is IP add, shortcut for IP address which is 192.168.10.1. Then the subnet mask space, then subnet mask, there 255.224. Press enter. We will maintain the same prompt. Okay, you were able to turn on the interface and assign an IP address for it that will serve as the default gateway for the LAN where that interface connects. So we now go to the other interface, G01, G0/1, and we maintain the same prompt, but now we are inside the G01 interface. So we turned it on just like what we did with G00. This will turn green, and then we assign an IP address to it, and the IP address allotted to this interface is 10.33. That will be the default gateway of the network of the host here. So we type IP space add space 192.168.10.33. there, the same space 255.255.224. Then we shift to the last interface, config IF. There, so we type interface G0/2, G0/2, there. Then we turned it on by issuing the command no shut. There will be communication here which tells us that this is now in state up, and this will turn into green. Then we assign the IP address of that interface serving as the default gateway for all the hosts here. Okay, so that will be IP add 192.168.10.65. there. Then the same /27 subnet mask 255.255.255.224. Okay, so these are the basic configurations that we can issue on this router. So from the interface mode, we go back to the privilege mode here, which is the mode that we can save the configuration. We can type EX for exit, then another EX until you arrive at this prompt, or we can simply type end, or we can press the keyboard Control Z. And as we type this, that will bring us back to the privilege mode. Okay, this one will be removed. Only the name of the router and the #. So in the privilege mode, we can now save this configuration, because at present, this configuration is inside the random access memory of the router. But we know that the RAM of a router is volatile. In the occurrence of power failure, this information will be lost. So we need to copy this and save it at the NVRAM, or the non-volatile random access memory of the router, also known as the startup memory. So we issue the command copy run start, which is the shortcut for copy the running memory, configuration, and put it as the starting configuration, or copy what is inside the RAM and put it into the NVRAM. That is the meaning of this command. As we press enter, it will ask the default startup file. Just press another enter, and then so this will be double enter. Okay, yeah, double enter, and the configuration is already saved. Now if you want to check the routing table of the router, if all these networks are already known to the router, you just issue the command show, or S8, shortcut of show IP route. If you issue this command, you are going to see what is inside the routing table of the router. Routing table is a table that consists the list of all the networks known to the router. So you must see there 3C and 2 and 3 L's there if you issue this command. The 3 connected networks, which are the 3 subnets, 192.168.168.10.0/27. The next connected network will be the 10.32/27. The third will be the 10.64. The router was able to know these networks because of these IP addresses we configured. Then the local will be the IP addresses we configured in the interface of the router. That will be /32, because that is just the IP address of the interface. Yeah, 10.33, and for the last one, for this subnetwork, 10.65. So if you issue this command and press enter, you'll get to see this, which says that all of these are directly connected to the router. Okay, and we are now ready to test connectivity. Okay, so how do we test connectivity of a router? Okay, so let me just remove this. Yeah. So to test connectivity, we use PCA. So from PCA, open the command prompt, the CMD, prompt, and you will say the name of the PC with this. Okay, you type ipconfig with no space between the letters to check the IP address configured on the PC. So if you press this, or if you issue this command, you must be able to see what we have configured earlier, these 3 parameters. So once these 3 parameters are manifested here, we are now ready to test connectivity. So there will be information there. So you just type PING. PING stands for Packet Internet Grouper. This is actually used to test connections between computers. So you will ping the IP address of PCB. So from PCA, you will try to ping the IP address of PCB. And what is the IP address of PCB? As we have configured earlier, there, 10.34. So we type ping the IP address of PCB 192.168.10.34, and as you press enter, there must be 4 replies. The PCB must reply 4 times. There. Okay. You do the same to PCC. You do the same to PCC. Then you ping also the IP address of PCC, which is 192.168.10.66. And as you issue that, the computer C must also reply. If initially there is a request timeout, then followed by 3 replies, you just repeat. Because sometimes there is what we call latency. But once the computers have replied 4 times, it means that the network is now fully connected. Okay? So with the use of Packet Tracer, you can simulate what we have discussed in this video. Thank you for watching and have a good day.